Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to be talking about the five spheres of the Earth. Lesson 5.1, the Earth's major spheres. In our prior lessons, we've talked about the five major chemical cycles. The Earth is a closed system. There's not going to be any more water introduced into our system. What water we have, that's all we're going to be able to live with till the end of the Earth. There's no more oxygen. Carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus. The Earth is a closed system for all of matter. Energy can come in and out of our atmosphere, but not elements. So the Earth is a closed system of chemical reactions, chemical cycles, and today we're going to learn about the spheres. The global systems. These are the big five global systems. So, in this lesson, our learning goals are to understand the structure of the atmosphere, the biosphere, the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, and there's another one, the cryosphere, which is kind of a subset of the hydrosphere. To understand how the five spheres interact with each other is another point that we want to learn in this lesson. What is the difference? Weather and climate. What's the difference between those two? How would you define them? Well, the weather is a state of atmosphere at a particular place in time. So the weather in Norristown, Pennsylvania, might be cloudy, rainy, snowy, hot, and humid. Those are the weather descriptions for a particular area. The climate, on the other hand, is the average weather condition of a certain region. For example, the climate of the North and South Pole would be frigid, very cold, full of ice and tundra. Whereas the climate of a place in the equator would be hot and almost um, hot, humid, tropical. The Earth can be divided up into five spheres that interact with each other: the atmosphere, biosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere, and the cryosphere. Can anyone guess which each of these is? The biosphere shown in this diagram is all living things. That's bacteria, plants, animals, humans. The atmosphere is the air, and the hydrosphere is the water. The lithosphere is the earth, dirt, the earth's crust. So the biosphere would be purely biotic, all living things. The air is abiotic. The hydrosphere is abiotic. That's water. Water is not alive. And the lithosphere is the earth, dirt, soil. That's not alive either. So that's abiotic as well. So the only one that's biotic is the biosphere, which is why the prefix is bio, meaning life. Everything in the Earth system can be placed into one of four major subsystems: land, water, living things, or air. These four subsystems are called spheres. Specifically, they're the lithosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere, and the atmosphere. Each of these four spheres can be further subdivided into subspheres. For example, there is a fifth sphere called the cryosphere. It is getting much attention these days because of global warming. The cryosphere would be the uh, hydrosphere, but it's the solid form of water, ice. The atmosphere, air. The atmosphere contains all of the air in the Earth's closed system. It extends from less than 1 meter below the planet's surface, meaning into the soil, to more than 10,000 kilometers above the planet's surface. The upper portion of the atmosphere protects the organisms of the biosphere from the sun's ultraviolet radiation. It also absorbs and emits heat, so it protects the Earth from overheating and freezing. When the air temperature in the lower portion of this sphere changes, that's when we get weather differences. That's when weather occurs. As air in the lower atmosphere is heated or cooled, it moves around the planet. The result can be as simple as a breeze or as complex as a tornado. So, this atmosphere affects significantly both climate and our weather. Now, these are the layers of the atmosphere. The atmosphere has can be broken into subdivisions. Right above the Earth, where planes fly, would be the troposphere. Above that is the stratosphere. That's where all the high clouds are. The mesosphere would be where you might see meteors. The thermosphere is the protective layer at the upper heights of our atmosphere, and that's what protects us from thermal changes. It also uh, allows heat to escape, energy can enter through the sun's rays. So, as I was saying earlier, the Earth's atmosphere is a protective layer. The Earth is a closed system. Energy can escape and come in, but not matter. The biosphere, it's biotic, all of life. The biosphere contains all of the planet's living things. This sphere includes all the microorganisms, bacteria, plants, animals of all the Earth. Within the biosphere, living things form ecological communities, which we talked about before, on the physical surroundings of an area. These communities are referred to as biomes, also ecosystems. Deserts, grasslands, tropical forests are three of the many types of biomes or ecosystems that exist within the biosphere. Here we have pictures of biotic organisms that live in the biosphere. It is a zone of life on the earth. It includes all living organisms, including humans, all organic matter that is not yet decomposed. The biosphere is structured into a hierarchy known as the food chain, which we've spoken about before. Energy and mass is transferred from one level of the food chain to the next. The lithosphere, let me say that again, lithosphere. That's all the land, soil, dirt. The lithosphere includes the crust, the uppermost mantle, the hard and rigid outer layer of the earth. It's about 100 kilometers thick. The lithosphere below the crust is brittle enough at some locations to produce earthquakes when the plates of the lithosphere uh, cause friction and pressure, and then they erupt. The hydrosphere, water. The hydrosphere contains all of the water found on our planet. Water on the surface, oceans, lakes, rivers, streams, and creeks. Water under the surface of our planet, water trapped in the soil, and groundwater. Water vapor in the atmosphere. Frozen water, ice caps, and glaciers. Only about 3% of the water on Earth is fresh water, and about 70% of the fresh water is frozen in the form of glacial ice. The cryosphere, ice. Now, this is a subset of the hydrosphere, the frozen part of the hydrosphere. It's all fresh water. All glaciers are fresh water, not salt water. Fact, only about 3% of the water on Earth is fresh water. 1% of fresh water is liquid, drinkable water. 2% of fresh water is frozen in the form of glaciers. So most of our fresh water is frozen. Why is so much attention being given to this fifth sphere? Because of global warming. Carbon dioxide traps heat before it can escape into space through the thermosphere. Climate change. The average weather patterns shift for long periods of time. For example, what was frozen cold warms up and melts. The carbon footprint, the measure of our habits of releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere by burning fossil fuels like factories, car exhaust, burning coal, oil, or even burning leaves. We must reduce our carbon footprint. Limiting fossil fuel usage. We must use more electric cars, wind and solar power, and still uninvented ways of producing energy without the use of burning fossil fuels. Well, that's it for this lesson, guys. Feel free to watch this lesson, stop it, take notes. Be sure to complete the assignments associated with this lesson, and remember to learn something new every day. Up next, the atmosphere and biosphere, fascinating interactions explained.